everyone. So today's ED topic is the complexities involved in human wildlife conflicts. Yes, it was in news last month. Yes, Kerala state was facing a lot of problems related to human elephant conflicts, and because of that it has declared the human elephant conflict as a, or we can say human wildlife conflict as a state specific disaster, and it became first state, and that's why it was in news. So with that context we will try to start this topic. Thereafter we will try to go in details of specific, we can say, issue. So why Kerala is facing human wildlife conflicts frequently in recent times, especially Wayanad district of Kerala is facing more such conflicts. It was in news. Thereafter, we will try to understand what measures that Kerala government is taking. Thereafter, we can say the other reasons for human wildlife conflict we will try to understand here all around India. What are the measures undertaken by government of India related to this, and what should be the way forward? This is how we will proceed in this lecture, and we know that this is important topic related to GS 3 paper environment section. This is the pending areas, we can say pending area where UPSC has not yet asked question. ठीक है, तो इसलिए हम ज़्यादा इसको ठीक से प्रिपेयर करना चाहिए. So just now I told you context is that Kerala government became the first state. Okay, Kerala state became the first state to declare human wildlife conflict as state specific disaster. So states can have or declare such kind of state specific disasters because several states face unique kind of disasters, and that's why they can take further measures to deal with that or mitigate that disaster. Along with that, it can seek some financial assistance from the central government based on such kind of state specific disasters. So it was in news. Why? Because the Kerala is facing lot of issues related to wild animals, especially wild elephants. ठीक है, तो let's try to understand reasons. But before that, let me also give you some data related to, we can say, Kerala specific data related to human wildlife conflicts in 2022-2023 year. If we talk about the number of such attacks, 8,873 attacks happened. Among them, if we talk about specifically elephants, so 4,193 by elephants. Okay, the largest, we can say, half of the attacks were by the elephants in that particular state. And if we talk about the number of deaths, human casualties, we can say, total deaths in that year, 98. Out of 98, we can say the death by the elephant attacks specifically is 27. So this is state specific, we can say, fact. If we talk about the Wayanad district specifically, if the question is related to that Wayanad district, Kerala, you should know why it is facing more problem, because almost 1/3 of this district is the forest area. Okay, percentage wise 36.48% is having forest cover, and we know that Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary is part of, we can say, Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So in terms of biodiversity of animals, so it is very important. Now let's talk about the reasons specific to, we can say, Kerala. Specific to Kerala. Why we are having or experiencing more human wildlife conflict in Kerala and especially in Wayanad district also. The first and foremost is, we can say that decline in habitat quality, especially due to invasive plant species. Invasive plant species. For example, we can take example of eucalyptus, acacia. These are being grown on the forest patches for commercial purpose. And you should know that even the forest officials were involved or forest department was involved in, we can say, planting these trees. But from 2018 onwards, this has been banned by the Kerala government. But the forest requires time to recuperate, right? So हम पढ़ते हैं ecological succession में, right? If the forest is removed, then the secondary succession comes into the picture. So it takes a lot of time for the forest regrowth. So this is the major reason, and if such invasive plants are spreading in the forest habitat or wildlife habitat, the elephants especially, their food is depleting in their habitat, and that's why they are moving out of their habitat in search of food. First reason. Second reason is, we can say that the changes that are happening in Kerala in agriculture practices. What kind of changes we are witnessing here? Like we can say that due to high labor cost, or we can say rent, the people are not preferring the agriculture, and therefore we can say that there is we can say absenteeism in the farms. Okay, so यानी कि क्या है, वहां पर farm labor या farmers ज़्यादा presence नहीं है, and because of that we can say somehow they are raided by the animals like elephants. Second is emergence of dairy sector, especially in Wayanad district, as an allied activity to the agriculture or farming, we can say. And because of that, the farmers are keeping the cattle, and cattle has become the major prey base for attacks outside the habitat by these carnivores, the be it tiger, leopards. So they are coming out of their habitat and attacking these cattle. This is also one of the reason, we can say. Then the farmers are also afraid of such attacks, and they are settling away from the farms. पहले क्या करते थे वो, जहां पर उनका फार्म्स होता है वहीं पे वो रहते थे, and because of that somehow the animals were deterred to come in presence of, we can say, human being in those farms. But now they are living away in a safe areas, we can say, and that's why the animals are now, we can say, they are not fearful of any, let's say, such kind of thing, and that's why they are now more attacking such farmlands. तो ये major reasons पाए गए हैं when the researchers or experts talked about this reasons, especially in Wayanad district, why such. Then we can talk about the other reasons, and other reasons we will talk in general. ठीक है, in general बाकी कौन से reasons है all over India why we are witnessing such kind of, let's say, human wildlife conflicts. So habitat destruction and fragmentation. Habitat destruction and fragmentation. This is one of the major reason. So we know that these elephants or other animals, they migrate from one place to other place in search of food and water. and that's why there are corridors, or these animals, they remember their paths, they travel along those paths. Elephants especially, they are having this unique property, we can say, characteristics. Now because of fragmentation of their habitat, what is happening is they are continuously coming in contact with human habitation, and that's why there are more and more conflicts. Then habitat destruction. So what is happening in habitat destruction? Deforestation is happening. Then illegal construction in the forest areas, infrastructure projects like railways, roads, they are going in between, we can say, these habitats, and because of that habitat destruction is also there. Many deaths of elephants are observed in Odisha, West Bengal because of, let's say, the accidents from the railways, है ना. बहुत बार आपने पढ़ा भी होगा न्यूज़पेपर में habitat destruction, and one of the reason is also this one, invasive plant species, it is destructing the habitat. Then another major reason we can say that is the preventive measures are being diluted. Dilution of preventive measures, like recent amendment to Wildlife Protection Act. For example, deletion of Schedule 5 related to vermins in Wildlife Protection Act 1972. We are aware about this, and because of that it becomes difficult to take action. Okay, so जो पहले से ही specific provision था, many ecologists are of the view that this provision should be further added in the Wildlife Protection Act so that such kind of wildlife, human wildlife conflicts will reduce. Thereafter, the capacity of forest officials. ठीक है, so there is poor capacity of forest officials. They are lacking, we can say, funds, training, adequate training, okay, adequate infrastructure, we can say, protective gears, all these things. Thereafter, we can say that spread of diseases among the wild animals. This reduces the prey base. This reduces the prey base for animals, and that's why they venture outside their habitat. They venture outside their habitat. So we have to remember this also. Then along with that, the broader aspect, the contemporary phenomenon, climate change. Now, how climate change is impacting here? See, because of climate change, there are extreme events like forest fire is there, drought is there, and the water resources are dwindling. Because of forest fires, these wild animals are coming out of their habitat, and because of that, what happens is there is human wildlife conflict, and such instances are further increasing. Like Himalayan states, we see several leopard attacks are happening in the Uttarakhand, Almora district, Pauri district of Uttarakhand. Recent times they are facing problems. Or you can understand from, let's say, the changes in the migratory patterns that are happening because of climate change. Okay? Because of climate change, the resource distribution is changing, the rainfall pattern is changing, and because of that also the migratory patterns of all these animals, it is also changing, and it may come across, we can say, human settlements, human habitats, that may lead to human wildlife conflict. So these are the major reasons we should remember along with some data. इसके आगे और एक चीज आपको याद रखनी है कि many times there is a dumping of waste material along the forest or we can say near forest areas. इससे क्या होता है? The animals which are living in the forest, they come for foraging on that waste material, and because of that there is chances of conflict also. ठीक है, तो these are some of the reasons we can say. Along with that, you can also mention unsustainable, we can say tourism practices, है ना, unsafe, unsustainable tourism practices. So many times the people behave in an irresponsible manner when they are, let's say, having any wildlife adventure or wildlife we can say tourism. जैसे टाइगर सफारी करता है तो वहाँ पर वो सेफ नहीं बिहेव करता है या फिर सेफ्टी मेजर्स फॉलो नहीं करता है. मेनी टाइम्स बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ऑल्सो वी कैन से सच काइंड ऑफ अटैक्स आर हैपनिंग. ठीक है, सो we can talk about this, many such reasons are there, but now let's talk about how Kerala government is dealing with this situation. Addressing this issue. First of all, some important schemes or programs they are implementing, especially for construction of elephant proof trenches, elephant proof stone walls, solar powered electric fences. Okay, so these are being implemented to stave off or we can say prevent any kind of conflict. Then second, we can say that important measures is ecosystem restoration or ecological restoration measures are being taken, like afforestation measures, changing farmland to forest land. How it is being done? The forest department is buying the farmland from the farmers who are facing we can say such kind of conflicts, so they are willing to live somewhere else. From them, the forest department in Kerala is buying that land and then it is converted into a forest land as a part of forest land we can say. ठीक है, so these are some measures. Then it is also having rapid response force or we can say task force or teams have been set up to deal with this situation. ठीक है, तो these are some measures being undertaken to address the issue by the Kerala government. Now, what government of India has taken certain measures to deal with human wildlife conflict, like Project Rehab. It's very important. Project Rehab. What is this? Reducing human attacks using honeybees. ठीक है, reducing human attacks by using honeybees. This is we can say a kind of biofence, so that the elephants are not coming out of the forest. ठीक है, so they are afraid of we can say honeybees, elephants. And this is very unique. Project Rehab, this has been launched by KVIC. ठीक है, Khadi and we can say yes, Khadi and Village Industries Commission or under Ministry of MSMEs, it has launched this in 7 such states. What they are doing, they are having this honeybee combs, or we can say that the honeybees are artificially placed, their combs or their homes are artificially placed at the border of these protected areas, so that the animals are not coming out of that protected area. ठीक है, तो ये एक मेजर है, हम बोल सकते हैं. देन वी नो दैट वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट इज देयर. Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So it is very important one. So through this we have set up lot of protected areas like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries are there. Along with that, it talks about critical tiger habitat. ठीक है, it talks about critical tiger habitat like core area of the tiger reserve, where no one is allowed except the scientific purpose, research purpose we can say. So this is how we are trying to protect our wildlife. Then further measures like eco-sensitive zones are being created up to 10 kilometer area around protected area. Protected areas like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries to be declared as eco-sensitive zones. This will act as a buffer zone. It will act as a buffer zone where the human activities, especially polluting activities, are regulated in eco-sensitive zone. ठीक है, वहां पर क्या होता है, रेगुलेट होता है ये सारे polluting activities जो है. ठीक है, and this has been let's say set up under Environment Protection Act, provisions of Environment Protection Act 1986. Remember, the word eco-sensitive zone is not mentioned under this act. There is a provision in the Environment Protection Act through which this particular, we can say, concept has been brought. Then there is new innovative method to prevent let's say human wildlife conflicts like eco ducts and eco bridges. ठीक है, like for example such kind of eco bridge has been set up in, or we can say for reptiles, in रामनगर, उत्तराखंड. जिम कॉर्बेट के यहाँ पर है रामनगर. ठीक है, तो वहां पर ये इको ब्रिज तैयार किया हुआ है फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने. राइट. सो in addition to that, there has been several measures like we have wildlife corridors. The government is trying to ensure that the habitat of wildlife is contiguous area. So wildlife corridors, for example, we have elephant corridors in India. Elephant habitat is protected as elephant corridors because they are continuously on the move under Project Elephant 1992. Right. In addition to that, we have 14 such guidelines issued by Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change. ठीक है, guidelines related to human wildlife conflict mitigation. Human wildlife conflict mitigation. So we have to remember some of these important measures undertaken by the government of India. But still such kind of things are happening. So further measures or way forward, what measures, effective measures can be taken to deal with this situation? So at present, the approach to deal with human wildlife conflict is top down approach, and that is ineffective approach. So the focus should be on, we can say, bottom up approach to deal with this issue. Bottom up approach means we can say that community led initiatives should be there. Community led initiatives should be there. For example, the successful example is Hathi Mitras. Hathi Mitra in Udanti Sita Nadi Tiger Reserve of Chhattisgarh. Tiger Reserve of Chhattisgarh. Okay. So community led approach is more effective. If suppose talking about the Kerala or any other place where the elephants are, making a menace, wild elephants. So there the village community can come together, they can form a group of young people, they can have a continuous monitoring at night time, they by rotation we can say, जैसे 5 यूथ जो है एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे पूरे राउंड मारेंगे, ठीक है, और they can alert the villagers immediately if such kind of animal has entered into village premises, ठीक है. So this is very important approach that we should have in terms of we can say mitigating human wildlife conflict. Then yes, the common aspect is physical barriers. जैसे अभी हमने बात की थी, there should be elephant proof trenches, there should be stone walls, elephant proof stone walls, there should be bio fences, there should be hanging fences. हमने ईडी बुकलेट में वो सारे फोटोग्राफ्स के साथ ऐड किया है, देखो. और वी कैन से दैट सोलर पावर्ड फेंसेस, so that it can be sustainable, है ना. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यहाँ पे देखो जितना वोल्टेज नहीं होता है कि एनिमल मर जाएगा, ठीक है. जस्ट टू वी कैन से दैट make the wild elephants or wild animals to move away from the let's say particular area and not come in outside the forest area. Such kind of physical barriers are very important. Okay, fences also includes we can say having plantation of trees, or we can say rotation crop rotation we can say, alternate cropping. Basically इससे क्या होता है, the crops which are not likened by the elephants, they should be grown first, there should be strips of those crops. तो इससे क्या है, एलिफेंट को पता चलेगा कि ये हमारा फॉडर नहीं है, ये हमारा फूड नहीं है, राइट. सो सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आर वेरी सक्सेसफुल इन वी कैन से दीज आर विलेजर्स इनिशिएटिव themselves. Then the focus should be on wildlife habitat improvement. The focus should be on wildlife habitat improvement. So how it can be done? The habitat improvement, yes, it can be done. Ensure sufficient prey base in the protected areas, then removing harmful weeds, or we can say invasive species of plants, then along with that ensuring that year round water in water holes in the forest area, है ना. वाटर होल्स होते हैं यहाँ पर, गर्मी के टाइम पे, समर टाइम पे ग्राउंड वाटर एक्सट्रैक्ट करके वहां पर डाला जाता है. सी बाम्बू ट्रीज नहीं हो गए स्पेशली एलिफेंट के लिए, क्योंकि वो तो फेवरेट फूड है उनका, ठीक है, वो खा लेते हैं बैम्बू फॉरेस्ट, पूरा क्लियर कर देंगे उसको, ठीक है. So growing some of the even crops which are not likened by the let's say elephants, तो वो भी एक हो सकता है कि to deter their we can say entering. Then after habitat improvement we can say that population control measures of certain animals which are menace, like for example elephants is also there, but elephant का तो population control का measure नहीं है हमारे यहाँ पर और करना भी नहीं चाहिए. But there are let's say animals they are problematic, like rhesus macaque is there in the Himalayan state especially, or wild boars is there, ठीक है. तो वो क्या करता है, पूरे crops खराब कर देता है. So there should be option of culling, or we can say sterilization, mass sterilization, capture and mass sterilization of rhesus macaque. This has been actually successful. Then the capturing techniques can be the scientific capturing techniques can be used like बोमा टेक्निक, ये न्यूज में था ना, बोमा टेक्निक क्या करता है इसमें, बोमा टेक्निक में, in this technique basically they are directing all these animals in a narrow channel where they can be captured. ठीक है, मतलब क्या, ये बोमा टेक्निक अफ्रीकन नेशंस में काफी फेमस है, so as to translocate the prey base from one area to other area, या फिर जो रैंचेस होता है वहां पे भी ये बोमा टेक्निक यूज किया जाता है. ओके, सो this population control measures can be very effective. Then we can say that improving capacity of forest officials, sufficient funds, training should be given to them, adequate protective gears, infrastructure, all these things are very important. Then ecological research is also very important. Research in terms of, we can say, what kind of technologies can be used. So more funding should be invested, more funds should be invested in such kind of research and development. Scientific methods of tracking like use of radio collars or camera traps can be also used. जैसे कोई wild animal, elephant जो enter करता है तो उसको immediately radio collar या फिर camera trap से track करना is very important. Okay, along with that, genetic analysis can be done of particular protected area, animals in protected areas, so that we can understand what changes are happening in their genetic setup. ठीक है, then for the in general awareness, there should be awareness campaigns among the communities living nearby forest areas, awareness campaigns through NGOs. Here the role of NGOs is very important. Then Panchayati Raj institutions, and we can say with the help of social media, it can be very effective. Along with that, the people who are affected because of human wildlife conflict, they should get adequate compensation. Adequate compensation should be there. Then along with that, there should be some kind of insurance scheme where, let's say, any particular state such kind of conflicts are observed. So insurance should be also given. In addition to compensation, they can have such kind of, especially crop insurance, animal insurance, cattle insurance, ये promote करना चाहिए. Then there should be, let's say, promotion of alternate livelihood practices, opportunities by the government, so that these people are not dependent on the, we can say that, only farming in that region or allied activities like dairy farming. ठीक है, तो ऐसे इनकम जनरेटिंग एक्टिविटीज जो अल्टरनेटिव लाइवलीहुड opportunities should be promoted, generated in those areas, so that the people living in the nearby areas of protected areas are not facing these problems. Okay, so this is how we should approach to this topic. Any question? छोटा सा टॉपिक है, वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट 10 मार्क क्वेश्चन इन GS3 पेपर. अभी तक इन्होंने पूछा नहीं है, सो वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट दिस क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, ये जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि पेंडिंग टॉपिक जो होता है पूछने का मेंस में, सो एंड इट इज इन कंटिन्यूअसली न्यूज बिकॉज ऑफ two things. One, in Kerala and in Uttarakhand, there is leopard attacks continuously happening among the human habitations. ठीक है, जैसे महाराष्ट्र में भी, वेस्टर्न महाराष्ट्र, ठाणे डिस्ट्रिक्ट, वहां पर भी लेपर्ड अटैक्स और लेपर्ड वेंचरिंग इनटू द ह्यूमन हैबिटेशन इज वेरी कॉमन थिंग. ठीक है, तो वैसे ही ये दो स्टेट्स का भी याद रख.